This is Nintendo 3DS.
When you first think of the Nintendo 3DS family, what comes to mind? Is it the portability? The fact you can take pictures, themes, or the wide range of games the system has had to offer us over the years? That's what will come to most people's minds anyway. Well, that and the fact you can game in 3D of course. But I can guarantee that most of you watching didn't have a feature by the name of Streetpass spring to mind. Whether that's because you've forgotten, never used it, didn't know of its existence, or have used the feature many times before, that's fine, as I'm here to explain how one man walking his dog every day evolved into a little green light that brought the Nintendo community closer than ever before. So sit back, grab a drink, your cat even, and let's talk about Streetpass. Now, before we cover some history, let's start with the basics. What is Streetpass? Streetpass is a Nintendo 3DS function which allows the communication of data between Nintendo 3DS systems, held by users in close proximity. An example being the sharing of Mii avatars in Streetpass's Mii Plaza, a free built-on application on Nintendo 3DS, where the Miis of other system owners that you pass can hang out. The concept behind Streetpass originally came from Nintendo's very own Shigeru Miyamoto, many years before Streetpass was a thing. Miyamoto would regularly walk his beloved dog Piku, and end up randomly encountering other dog owners on his journeys, who he would then usually end up talking to. At the time, Miyamoto was helping out with the development of Nintendogs on the DS, and wanted to find a way to replicate his own dog walking experience into the game. The result was a feature called Bark Mode. The player would activate Bark Mode on their copy of Nintendogs before putting the DS into Sleep Mode by closing the screen. As players walked around with the systems in their pockets and bags, the DS would use its wireless network to sniff out other systems also in Bark Mode. When the player eventually opens up their system again, they will receive a visit from another player's puppy, carrying it with a cute little gift and a message from the owner who they've walked past. From here, Bark Mode eventually evolved into a feature called Tag Mode, that was used for other DS games, such as Animal Crossing Wild World, which supported the option to trade villagers from system to system. It was also implemented into the release of Dragon Quest, where it was used to exchange items and quest data, as well as clones of the player to help out in quests. What's this? Your Tag Mode is evolving? That's right, just like some Pokemon, Bark Mode had a third evolution ready to show the world, and it's called Streetpass. I guess you could say it evolved out of happiness from its creator, Hideki Kono. At this time, Kono had been working at Nintendo for 25 years, and is one of the company's top game developers. He worked on games such as Ice Hockey, Luigi's Mansion, and quite a few of the Mario Kart games. You can thank him for the blue shell killing you each race. So having such an impressive background within the company, he was approached by none other than the creator of Bark Mode, Shigeru Miyamoto. This was around the time Kono had just finished making Mario Kart Wii, and was now taking time to relax before his schedule got busy again. Miyamoto asked Kono if he was able to have a quick chat, and in Kono's own words, this is what Miyamoto said. "We're working on this new portable console, and I'm wondering if you'd be interested in taking on the producer role for the entire project." And this was of course the Nintendo 3DS. Kono was surprised at first, but promptly agreed to take on the role of bringing the 3DS to life. So remember when I said that Hideki Kono had worked on a lot of Nintendo titles? Well, funnily enough, he was the producer of Nintendogs, and I think you can see where this is going. He remembered the good old days of Bark Mode that he had once worked on, and how it was now being used in more titles on the DS. Kono saw what Dragon Quest was achieving with Tag Mode, and wanted to one-up them by making it even better. So, instead of just having it in a few games, he integrated it into a whole new system that he was developing for Nintendo. Originally, the name Crosspath was decided for the third evolution of this feature, but was eventually changed to the now beloved Streetpass. So now we've had a little history lesson, how does Streetpass work on the 3DS? Remember that little green light I mentioned at the start of the video? Well, this light is an indicator for when a player's system had crossed paths with another system close by, and had exchanged data. Most people that actively use Streetpass would put their 3DS into Sleep Mode before taking them outside, whether it's in their pocket, bag, or car, just like Bark Mode. If the system had achieved the Streetpass function, then there would be a permanent green light on the system until the user opened it up again. However, this time Kono made sure Streetpass would still even be active even as the system was turned on. This time the light would flash green 2 or 3 times until returning to its normal colour. This green light brought so much joy to myself and lots of other users, not just because of all the cool content you could obtain via Streetpass, but because it meant there was a fellow Nintendo fan also with a 3DS close by. It was like a little exclusive club that only you knew about. I remember going into town with my 3DS in my pocket just to see how many people I could get by Streetpass. I recall my biggest being over 200 when I went to London back in 2014. I even started to get street passes at my high school and ended up making friends with a few people because of it. Just how Miyamoto probably made friends with other dog walkers because they shared that same interest. Honestly, anytime I looked down at my 3DS and saw that light shining green, it really did put a smile on my face, as I knew I wasn't the only Nintendo fan outside that day.
Hi guys, Krista at PAX Prime, where it's all about Streetpass. Let's go see what they think.
I love Streetpass.
Hey, I think I saw you on Streetpass.
Every single time I pull my DS out of my pocket, that little green light's going on.
The Streetpass hype and community grew so large that there would be official events and planned gatherings for it all across America and other parts of the world. Even Facebook groups for local areas would be set up by fans. Players would come together to expand their Streetpass plaza and get free gifts and games. Green lights would be going off left, right and centre. The Nintendo community had never been closer than this before.
It's been constant street passes.
I got like 30 just standing in line. I can't keep up.
It got to the point where Streetpass relay stations were set up at key locations across Europe. Relay stations allow players to exchange data with other systems all over Europe. This really was the height of Streetpass. Everyone was going crazy for it. And this is exactly what Streetpass was created for. Bring people with the same interests, who wouldn't normally end up meeting, much closer. Now, let's see what this new Streetpass has to offer us. First off, we have Me Street Plaza. This is where the Miis of all the people who Streetpass will show up. If you click on a Mii, you'll be able to view that person's last played game before they Streetpassed you, their favourite pet, dream, and where they're from. There's even a globe to track what country and region of that country the player is from. This was personally my favourite, as I ended up getting people from France, Canada, and Japan. The Miis you collect can also help on adventures within the plaza, such as Warrior's Way, where you fight rival clans in a quest to take over the world map, growing your empire along the way, or Streetpass Quest, which I believe even showed up in a Smash Bros stage. Streetpass Quest is a game where your Miis fight spooky monsters in order to save your own captured Mii. And this isn't all, as there are plenty of other mini-games to play too, some even as paid DLC. You can also solve jigsaw puzzles by collecting pieces from players you meet along the way. This was personally one of my favourites, as Nintendo kept adding new puzzles all the time from different games. Some puzzles even had 100 pieces, which took forever to complete. But my favourite thing about Streetpass was how it wasn't just kept at the plaza. In fact, it worked with an abundance of Nintendo 3DS titles, unlocking new features and games and rewarding players with cool new items, a little bit like DLC, but for free. For example, if you passed a player who also had data from Animal Crossing New Leaf, you'd be able to view and access their in-game home in the Happy Home Plaza above Main Street. This was one of my favourite games to Streetpass, as you could look around someone else's house who you've walked past in real life. Even let you order furniture that the player had on display, which was a great way to add items to your catalogue. It honestly seemed like Nintendo was making every game on the 3DS compatible with Streetpass, such as Super Smash Bros, where you could take part in Street Smash, sounds a bit dodgy if you ask me, Mario Kart 7, where you can race against a person's ghost data, Tamagotchi Life, where Miis sent out by other players could arrive at your island and move in, giving you various items, Monster Hunter, Nintendo's Plus Cats, New Super Mario Bros, Fire Emblem, Zelda, Professor Layton, Kirby, Fantasy Life, and even a few of the LEGO games, and so many more. But what about Nintendo's biggest IP? And my biggest IP, of course we're talking about Pokemon. Well, 7 Pokemon games in total could work with Streetpass, including Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates Infinity, Pokemon Shuffle, and some of the Pokemon Rumble games. But for me, the best Pokemon game that could access Streetpass had to be Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, because of one certain event regarding Streetpass that brought Pokemon fans closer than ever before. For those of you who are unaware, Pokemon often do limited time distributions for special Pokemon or items via an in-game feature called Mystery Gift. This usually requires a player to connect in-game to the internet or input a code they picked up in store. But back in 2014, the Pokemon Company decided to take a different approach and hosted an event entirely over Streetpass here in the UK. This was for an in-game item called the Eon Ticket. The Eon Ticket was made available in the United Kingdom to 15 lucky members of the public at a game store in London, and was personally given by Dorimichi Masuda himself. These people would then pass by other players, with Streetpass on of course, allowing them to also access the ticket and then pass it on themselves, therefore increasing the number of people who would pass on the Eon Ticket. This event was officially marketed as the Great Eon Ticket Relay. In fact, I remember going into town as much as I could just to try and pass someone who already had the ticket. It took a while, but when I finally got the ticket, I was overjoyed. And now people that I Streetpass with my 3DS would also obtain the ticket, therefore increasing the number of people who would obtain it. Just to be clear, people outside of the UK could still get this item via a code. We just got the fun way of obtaining it. This was actually quite an interesting event to research, so I think it deserves a whole video of its own. Now, if Streetpass was as fun and rewarding, why wasn't it implemented on the Nintendo Switch? Well, sadly I don't have any official answers, but I do have a good idea of why. You see, unlike the development of the 3DS, Hideki Kono, who was a Nintendo veteran, wasn't asked to take the lead. In fact, Tatsumi Kimishima, who was the president of Nintendo at the time, served as the general producer of the Switch during its development. And according to Miyamoto, the Switch's development within Nintendo was headed by younger employees. Junior developers were also used to help brainstorm ideas of how to make sure the Switch had a longer life cycle. But it's this quote from Miyamoto, when asked about the development of the Switch, that really hits a nail in the coffin. He says, "I always look for designers who aren't super passionate game fans." Which to me indicates that these many young designers didn't feel the need or just didn't know of Streetpass's existence, and therefore left it out of the Switch. We can also assume it's because of the portability and price of the Switch. Yes, the Switch is designed to be a hybrid console made to play on screen or on the go, but it's not exactly pocket size unlike the 3DS that can literally fit into your pocket. And I'm not sure most people would be comfortable taking a £300 system with them wherever they went. Although, with the arrival of the Switch Lite, I can't see why it wouldn't have been made a feature, considering how, well, lighter it is, as I'm pretty sure a lot of people still take their Switch with them on journeys, whether it's to work, to school, on a car ride, or on holiday. I personally think Nintendo missed a big opportunity leaving Streetpass off the Switch, as it just has so much to offer, especially now with all the new Nintendo fans the Switch has brought in. Just think of all the games it could work with, and what bonuses you get from having access to Streetpass. I can imagine it working with Breath of the Wild, where you can exchange Streetpass points to someone like Robbie for rare items, and I'm sure everyone's favourite hippie from Animal Crossing New Horizons, aka Harv, would make room for a Streetpass area related to players' houses on his island. It could even work with a Pokemon game, with a cool Wonder Pass-like feature, basically Wonder Trade but with Streetpass. Though sadly for now, we can only hope that the next installment to the Nintendo family of systems gets that sweet Streetpass treatment. Sadly, as time goes by, fewer and fewer people will use their 3DS, let alone take it out with them, making a Streetpass much harder to get. So next time you're thinking of going out and have a 3DS system lying around, why not put it into sleep mode and take it out with you, as you never know. You might just make someone's day by setting off that little green light that's been lying dormant for so long. Hey guys, this brings us to the end of today's video. What are your thoughts on the Streetpass? Do you think it should have been on the Switch, or are you glad it's gone? Whether you knew about Streetpass before or just found out about it from this video, I sure hope you learned something new. I definitely did researching this. If you want to find out when I upload more videos like this, then please feel free to subscribe. I also have a Twitter where I post frequently, which will be linked in the description. Also, I regularly stream Nintendo games like Pokemon, Mario Kart and Professor Layton over on my Twitch channel, so if you're interested, make sure to check them out too. I've been Kanto, and thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.
Prepare for trouble!